Hi everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I want to showcase a game engine which is built in Rust and uses entities component system, which is basically ECS. So I have found this game engine which is named as Bevy. It's open source and free game engine. I had my eye on it for quite some time, and it for now it looks really interesting to me. That's why I wanted to give it a try. So today I am going to make a very simple game in Bevy to see if I can make the game in entities component system and learn the EC. Yes, cause it all looks interesting, and why not? The ECS looks kind of similar or better to me than the Unity ECS system, because it to me the Bevy ECS looks simpler. I have watched some videos and tutorials on it. So the ECS is pretty simple and it's open source. But the major warning is that this engine is still in development, and it's not stable, as they have as the devs of this engine have stated. uh, this engine is really in its infancy, and is really not stable as right now, but in future maybe it can be a great engine. So I wanted to check it out and showcase it to my viewers. So let's go. So I first created a script. This So in Bevy, we basically have three things. One is entities and components and systems. So we define a component using derived component and using a struct, and assign some values to it, or ask for some data type, such as here I ask for enemy health, and so. And in the main function we create a new application, which is the a bit harder. You first need to understand the engine. You can do this by following their docs. So I just created this basic plugin to create a new window, and here I added some systems. So systems are basically what operate on the data you created, and here I spawned our player, uh, which is a setup function. It calls in the start method. Add systems startup is basically a start method of Bevy. If you look at it from Unity's perspective system, and these systems in update are run continuously, so you can call it the update function of Unity. If you want to check this out with Unity's perspective, to me the Bevy ECS looks very simple, and I have made this quick script to move the player. Let's test it out quickly. And this script basically just moves the player in certain directions, and it's pretty simple. We just get a direction vector and add it to our to our transformed translation, and let's check it out. And we can move right and left. So now let's work on the firing method. I have worked on the spawn bullets handler function. So this function basically just creates some bullets when we press the space key, which is so Bevy input method is also very simple. We just get a resource, which is key code, and get the space key, if and check if the space key is just pressed, and then we perform some functions. Here we spawn the player bullet, which is in our assets folder, a sprite or a png file, you can say, and assign some components to it using insert. And after that we have a bullet life, which basically destroys the bullet when after a certain timer, such as let's say 5 seconds. After 5 seconds it destroys the bullet. And then we have a move function. Simple. It just makes a query for all the entities with a transform. Of course every entity has a transform, and then a bullet and a speed, cause we need a speed to move the bullet, and a bullet component to know it's a bullet, which is the direction of the bullet, and the direction it should move. So right now it's pretty straightforward. Let's test it out again. And now if we check, let me hit play. and I can spawn these bullets. So far looks so good. Now if I go to let's create enemies, because a game without enemies is basically just a boring game. Don't mind it. Let's so I created this enemy wave spawner which basically spawns enemies continuously, and to test it out let me showcase it to you. And this function basically spawns all the enemies over time, and it will continuously spawn more enemies, so the number of enemies will continuously increase. And as you can see there are so many enemies and they aren't even getting destroyed, like they are just moving downwards while the bullets get destroyed, because I made it a button to destroy the bullets automatically, while the enemies aren't getting destroyed. Instead they are just moving outside of the screen so I can see them. And I think the more than 500 enemies I have easily spawned, or even more, and they're continuously spawning. And if I let it run for some time it would be absolute chaos. So from this you can check out how powerful Bevy ECS is in terms of performance. If To be honest, if I try to make this in Unity, it would, I think, really be impossible without Unity dots. But I didn't understand the Unity dots, because to me it looks really complex and bloated. But Bevy ECS to me looks simple. We just define some components and that's it. And as you can see, it's just so powerful. So, from the point of view, I see Bevy is I see it as a monster game in engine which has the power to like do very complex stuff with ECS. Like it's just a powerhouse if you want to talk about complex calculations and so. And it's still running. What? There are so many enemies at this point, and I don't know how many enemies have spawned. They are continuously spawning and spawning. Right now they don't do anything because I haven't made any functionality for them, and it's just a fun project. So I made it in basically 2 to 3 days after learning Avi, and of course I went for some help, got some errors. I asked Reddit for help. So I asked Reddit for help, and there were and there were a lot of people who replied and helped me to handle the problems, and that's how I made it, the game. And Bevy documentation also helped a lot. And there are some tutorials on YouTube. Most of them are outdated, but there are also some latest tutorials you can watch to learn Bevy if you want. But Bevy is still in a very young game engine and doesn't have the functionality like Unity and other game engines too. But it's being developed, and I think it can be a great game engine like Godot in future. And because it's like open source, similar to Godot. Godot is also an open source game engine. I have tried Godot for some time, and I do plan to make some future projects in it after I make my main project in Unity, because I am still working on this. But both of these engines are interesting, and I do plan to explore them in the future. Godot is also great choice. It's open source, and Godot is much more stable than Bevy. Right, currently Godot has an editor, and to me Godot looks much stabler and had very good features. So Godot did make a good impression, and I will definitely try the engine in future. And that's it for today's video. I just wanted to share my thoughts on the Bevy game engine and the ECS. ECS is really a powerful tool which I think can really help in making complex games. ECS can be the new future of game dev, but it's still very new concept, and most engines are using object oriented programming, which is quite opposite to ECS. But ECS can be good. It's a bit complex to ride, and you need to like get a get the entire thing and plan your code structure. But I felt like Bevy ECS is much simpler than Unity ECS, because when I tried Unity ECS it just broke my head. And uh, I am not sponsoring anyone or any opinion. I am just telling my own opinion about Unity. I just felt like, oh, of course some people love Unity ECS as well, and Unity dots is also great, but to me it's just my opinion. I didn't felt like that. And yeah, so that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will meet you in the next interesting video. Goodbye.